Right now, I do want to talk more about Operation Epic Fury. Of course, Operation Roaring Lion, if you're over in Israel. This is actually a post from Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's office that says, "People of Iran, we are waging a historic war for liberty. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for you to remove the Ayatollah regime and gain your freedom. Together with the United States, we are hitting the tyrants of Tehran harder than ever." Again, that is a post from the Prime Minister's office. I want to pop this up on your screen. This is over Beirut in Lebanon as Israel does continue to conduct those operations, not just over in Tehran against the IRGC and the current regime, but also against Hezbollah, the terror group there in Beirut. Smoke rising as that operation continues as well. Right now, I do want to bring in the Israeli government spokesperson, Shosh Bedrosian, to talk a little bit more about the situation on the ground. And Shosh, as always, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thanks for having me, Josh.
And first off, I just wanted you to kind of go over the operation as a whole. We know that it started, of course, 12 days ago at this point, the current operation. So where do things stand in Tehran as well as in Beirut?
Sure. So it's been 12 days, like you said, since Operation Roaring Lion was launched. And we have seen incredible success and our achievements, a lot of them met so far. We are hitting Tehran. We are hitting the Islamic Republic of Iran harder than ever before. That's because we have the help from our incredible ally, the United States of America, and their security forces. But what's going on right now is we are targeting command centers in the heart of Tehran. And the Islamic Republic of Iran is also hiding their weapons amongst civilian infrastructure. We're also seeing this exact pattern in Hezbollah in the heart of Beirut. We're seeing strategic weapons of this terror proxy of Iran hiding their weapons amongst the civilian population. Some might say like father, like son, because Iran, the regime there, is the head of the snake. And one of the proxies they fund to annihilate the state of Israel is Hezbollah. We have Hamas, and we also have the Houthis. So we are continuing to batter the regime. They have been frazzled, they have been scrambled, and we can clearly see that as there are cracks in the regime already.
Going into that a little bit deeper, I've asked you this question several times in the past, but for folks who have not necessarily gathered all of the details, explain Hezbollah and Iran, their connection there as a proxy group.
Sure. So we have the head of the snake, which is the Islamic Republic of Iran. And instead of putting the billions of dollars that they have towards their own people, they've decided to oppress them. They've taken all of that money, the billions of dollars, and they've put it towards their terror proxies. Hezbollah is their #1 proxy and their largest one. It's funded, it's trained, it's propped up financially by the Islamic Republic of Iran. We also have Hamas in the south in Gaza and the Houthis in Yemen. Why are there so many terror proxies that surround the state of Israel, you might ask? Well, it's no coincidence. It's Iran's way of suffocating and smothering the state of Israel so that we are surrounded by terror on all sides with one goal: to annihilate us, to annihilate our people and the only Jewish state on the planet. And we need to take out the head of the snake. That's exactly what Operation Roaring Lion is working on right now. And we've seen enormous accomplishments so far to take out this immediate threat that the Islamic regime, the Ayatollah regime, poses, which is their nuclear capabilities, in addition to their ballistic missile capabilities that they continue to fire at us on a daily, frequent basis, multiple times a day at this point in this operation. And we need to take that out in order for the Iranian people to take matters into their own hands, like the statement you just read from the Prime Minister himself.
And we've also talked a lot, you and I, about the situation that Iran and Hezbollah, all those groups, pose to Israelis, the folks there in Israel. But I wanted to get your take on what kind of danger, what kind of issues there that this actually poses, Iran, to America, to Americans here in the U.S.
Sure, Josh. Well, that's an incredibly important question. What Americans need to understand is that the Iranian regime hasn't just threatened Israel. It has a long history of actually targeting Americans directly. Now, this goes all the way back to the Iran hostage crisis. After that first supreme leader, Khomeini, he came to power terrorists took over the U.S. embassy in Tehran, and they held about 52 Americans hostage for 444 days. Americans were the first hostages of the Ayatollah regime. Israelis were the last ones on October 7th. Now, since then, Iran and the terror groups it funds, its proxies, they've repeatedly killed Americans. In just 1983, an Iran-backed Hezbollah truck bombing bombed the U.S. Marine barracks in Beirut. They killed more than 240 American service members. That was one of the deadliest terror attacks against Americans before 9/11. And moving over to just more recently now, Josh, Iran's terror proxies, they've killed hundreds of U.S. troops in Iraq using IEDs, and Iranian-backed terrorist organizations that have killed American civilians in places across the region here. Like I mentioned before, October 7th, Hamas, their other proxy, which is funded and supported by Iran, they've killed dozens of Americans. They've kidnapped others during this massacre in Israel. So when people ask what the threat is to Americans, the answer is very, very simple, Josh. The Iranian regime has been targeting Americans for decades. It's the same ideology that's been calling for the destruction of the state of Israel and the United States. Remember, they call us the little Satan. America is the big Satan. Now, that is a threat. It's not a theory. Americans have already paid a very, very heavy price for the Iranian regime.
My last question here before I let you go. What piece of maybe misinformation, disinformation out there about the current operation, about Israel in general, do you want to clarify to make sure that folks who are watching now, whether they are in the U.S., in Israel, or elsewhere, fully understand?
Sure. Well, the state of Israel will not allow an Ayatollah regime to exist in Iran. The people have been oppressed by this regime for 47 years. The prime minister has spoken to the Iranian people, and he's made it very clear to them that the opportunity, the moment of truth is coming. They need to seize the moment, and that moment is up for them. It's up to them to take it once it is there. We are going to create these conditions for the Iranian people to take back their destiny, to finally have control of their own future. Prime Minister Netanyahu says, we will remove this existential threat of the Ayatollah regime, and when we do that, it could usher in an era of peace we have never seen before in the Middle East. Remember, the Ayatollah regime has worked to destabilize the Middle East for decades at this point in time. It is time our people, Americans, Europeans, and everyone across the region can finally live in peace and not have to worry about their lives being threatened by a totally lunatic regime who wants to annihilate all of us.
Shosh Bedrosian, the Israeli government spokesperson, thank you so much for taking the time to join us here and talking about all of this. Anything you want to add, anything we missed here before I let you go?
I just want to thank you for the opportunity. I want to just talk about the incredible alliance between the United States and the state of Israel right now. We have never seen a cooperation, collaboration between our two countries the way that we are seeing right now. We are absolutely standing up to evil. This is an operation between good and evil, and President Trump has recognized that. Prime Minister Netanyahu has been saying this for years now, and finally, President Trump is on the same page as him. He understands the threat that the Ayatollah regime poses to us and the American people, like what I just mentioned, the history that the Iranian regime took American captives back in 1979 at the embassy in Tehran for 444 days. The last people that they took captive were Israelis on October 7th with their terror proxy of Hamas. We are fighting this together, and one of the prime minister's advisors actually said just this week that President Trump and Prime Minister Netanyahu might just be the greatest tag team of all time with what we have been able to accomplish together in this incredible operation so far, Josh.
And we know they've, of course, had several meetings here since President Trump started his second term there in office. Shosh, thank you so much for taking the time to join us and helping to discuss all this. We appreciate it.
Thank you.